talk about all the IVF meds that I've gotten so far. This does not include any medications for our frozen embryo transfer that will hopefully be happening in March. But this is all the medications that I'll be taking up until we do egg retrieval. So to start out with, the first medication that I started was a medication called Lupron. Now, this is different than a lot of people that do IVF actually start with like a birth control pill, but my protocol was different, and really every protocol can be different and have different, names of medication or even different types of medication depending on what specific fertility issue you struggle with or even what clinic you go to. So this is specifically for me from my clinic that is for someone with low AMH and low antral follicle count. So I did not start with birth control, but I started with Lupron. And this is an injectable medication, and it comes in this box here. And this is what the jar looks like. And it had like a cap on it, and so I popped the cap off in order to get, there's like this rubber thing at the top that that's how you get the medication out. So you'll take these needles here that they give you, and you will puncture the top with the needle, and then you'll suck up the medication that you need, so whatever amount that they've told you need to take. For me, I was told to take 10, which is just right there, so it's a very small amount. And then, and so I actually took this medicine. I started on the 27th of December taking this. And then on January 7th, which is actually my husband, Casey, and that was our 7th year anniversary, I started taking the stimulation medications. And so those medications are to help your follicles to help your ovaries produce lots of follicles. So typically your body will produce, like mature, there's usually like these, there's these resting or antral follicles, and they, typically only one, maybe two would mature from those and then release an egg. But in IVF, they're wanting as many of those resting follicles to grow and mature as possible. So, and I have like a lower count of them. I only have like probably 9 or 10. And typically some people, could have like 20 of them or something. So this protocol, so I actually am taking, some different dosages even than some other people would take for IVF. So on January 7th, I started the stim medications, and how everything changed was I still was taking the Lupron, but I took a lesser amount. I just went up to 5 units on this, and then in the same needle, I went into this jar right here, which is a low dose HCG. And so then I stick the needle in the top of this one, and I pull out 20 more units. So a total of 25 is in here. So I'm like down to there. And so then I take that and I inject it into like the fat roll of my stomach. So it's a subcutaneous injection, and that's really the best place to give those. I think some people may give them in the arm, I'm not sure, but most people stick with the stomach area here. So I do that in the morning. So that's all the medication I take in the morning. And then every evening, I've been taking Gonal F. And I actually had to get 4 of these Gonal F pens for my protocol. And I take a lot of this. I take 325 units. And I have taken this medication before because when I did the IUIs, we did this medication for those, but I only took 37.5 units. So this is a huge difference for sure. And this is only the 3rd night that I've been taking this, But anyway, and so haven't really felt too many side effects, maybe some bloating and stuff, but I'm sure as this continues to stimulate my ovaries, I'll get more and more bloating probably. But anyway, this looks like this. It looks like a pen, basically. It's even got this little thing here, so it looks like a pen. And you just would pop that off like that. And this one's empty. I actually finished this one. And so the medication is in this part, and then to inject it, you just have all of these little pen needles. And so you just take that flap off and screw it onto the top of there, and then there you go. So you can do multiple doses with just one pen. So, and how you do your dosage is there's a little window in here, and it will tell you as you're turning this, it'll go up and tell you what, you know, you're going to be injecting into yourself. So once you get to the level you need, you're good to go. If you go past it or whatever, you can always go back down. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And actually, I had this happen to me where I've been taking 325, and so my last dosage that I took, I set it to 325 and I pushed the button, and you know, you're wanting it to get back down to that 0 mark to know that you got your full dose. But it did not get down to 0. I pushed the button all the way down because there was no more medicine left in here. So it had 12.5 left. So it's pretty simple in the sense of whatever number is there left, you just open a new pen and you inject whatever number was there. So 12.5, and then now I've had my full dose. So that was something I haven't had to do before. So, but they make it pretty straightforward and simple, thankfully. So I do that in the evening, and then that's all the stim medication I'm taking right now. Another medication that came in the mail was this one called Pregnol, and this is the trigger shot. So as we're stimulating these follicles to grow and mature, once they get to the size that they're happy with them, they then would tell me, okay, now it's time to trigger. And so probably that evening I would take this trigger shot, and then 36 hours after that is when we would do egg retrieval. And I'm guessing that, you know, they haven't taught me how to do this yet, but it actually came, sorry, I had forgotten to get the needles that this came with, but it came with these big ones right here, which are, I think, pretty similar to what the progesterone and oil shot needles will look like, because those are intramuscular, so it has to be a much longer, thicker needle. But I believe these are for mixing this medication, because it also came with these tiny needles, and these are like the subcutaneous ones. And it does say on here that it would be a subcutaneous injection. So that's the last medication that I got in the mail. And you know, some of these do need to be refrigerated. And so when they come to you, they'll probably come like in a cooler type thing when they're shipped to your house, and they're very nicely packed, and they're always super cool and cold in there. So even if you know, aren't able to be home when it's delivered or something, and you get it when you get home from work, it'll be perfectly fine. So, but yeah, that's my med. Something else that you'll usually get to when you get these medications is you'll get some alcohol swabs for cleaning the area that you're going to inject. And I also like to clean the tops of these bottles every time I use them, just to make sure they're clean. And then you'll also get sharps container, because any of these needles that you're using, you cannot throw them in your own garbage can. They have to go in a special container like this. And then you can't even throw this into the garbage either. You actually have to take it somewhere where they can dispose of it properly. And thankfully my clinic does that. I'm guessing that's probably the case for most places, but they just said once it's filled up, just bring it to us and we'll take care of it. So that's that's how that works. But yeah, and you know, this is my schedule, and today's day 3, and so actually I go in tomorrow to do a scan, a transvaginal ultrasound, to see how I'm responding so far, and that will kind of let them know, you know, if I'm taking the proper amount and stuff like that. So but yeah, that's the video of all the meds that I'll be taking, and yeah, we're excited, but it's also a little, you know, crazy and overwhelming sometimes to think that we're actually doing this. And you know, I just try to remember to be in that moment, to live in the moment, because it's so easy and to just not do that. I know for myself. And so even as I'm doing these injections, like, I try to just you know, remember to surrender it to God, and just to, you know, pray after those injections, and just be like, God, please allow this medicine to do what it needs to do in my body, and to help my body mature, help the eggs, and that everything would go as it needs to go. And then just surrendering to Him and trusting Him no matter what the outcome is, because it's definitely not, I can't put my hope and trust in these medications. It's only can be putting it to God. And I'm thankful I have this opportunity. I'm thankful there's this technology to do this amazing, crazy thing. And but I know that God is in it all and with me in it all. So I wanted to remember that as we go through this process. And I thank you guys for journeying with me as well. Let me know, like, what, you know, variations you had from this, if, you know, you did different types of medication or whatever, or if you have any other questions just about, you know, IVF meds or anything. So thank you guys for just keeping up to date too with what's going on with us and how this journey's going. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.